Hello, everybody. Geraldine Rose here. I've got another bright birthday card. This one I made with stencils over top of my gel plate. Little bit of housekeeping first. We've got the mail call form down below in the description. If you want to enter, that's where it is. And I clear it each month and then we send out a card and start a new one. One other important thing I've got to talk to everybody about. If you didn't know, YouTube has changed the goalpost for all of us that are small creators like myself. We need to reach 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours within 1 year by February 1st. So we've got about 5-6 months to do it. If we don't, we kind of lose it because they're going to move it all the way back to 8,000 hours, and that's going to be almost unattainable. So I am please asking for help for subbing, liking, sharing, commenting, any interaction. If you play the playlist on your device on mute or something just to help bring those watch hours up, because it would be horrible to lose all the hard work that we've put into it over the last year. Thank you. And on to the card. Okay, I have my gel plate out again, and I am got some acrylic paints in white, blue, green, yellow that I am putting on top of my brayer and brayering down over the gel plate. I only did it like that because I had such a small area I was doing. I've got that panel masked off with some satin tape so that I'm just getting that print right in the middle. So I would put the paint down. I've been putting the stencils down. I was using both the halftone stencil and the scattered tiles stencil. Then I would put the panel down and then the paper, let it dry, and then peel it up and go to the next layer. I am kind of wanting it to have mostly like greenish yellowish tones with a hint of blue coming through. So that's why I laid that color down first, and then I'm going to be putting the others over top. So this is where I've switched to the scattered tiles to bring in a slightly different texture over top with the other colors I'm doing. I also had some yellow paint that was a bit more thinned out with a slight shimmer in it that I put in dots on the brayer and just rolled it on to put that final top over it to tone out the blues, and blue and yellow make green, right? Here, I'm pulling back the satin tape on an angle so that it won't tear that paper because I want to keep that panel all one piece. Now, it's been, of course, put aside to dry, and I have got the fresh dye inks out now. I'm going over top of that scattered tiles stencil. It's like the S's and the T's are so close together on this. Yay! Phonetic paraphrasia happening again. But what I've done is I've put yellow and green tones with that scattered tiles over top of the panel, over top of the part that we did with the gel print. It's again bringing in another element of that stenciling that we've got happening. It's going to have a different texture over top of the card panel, and it's going to be a bit more grainy over top of where we've got those acrylic paints from the print. I still had some left on the blending brushes, so I put a little piece of the tape on the inside of the card to mask it off. I'm bringing in both of those two stencils and just rubbing over top of them so that I've got a little bit of that yellow-green carrying through to the inside before we put our sentiment down. Now, we're jumping back to the front panel again because I've given those inks a little bit of chance to dry because I want them to be drier. I don't want them to pick up the color from this embossing paste too much. The wetter the inks are, the more that they're going to bleed through into your embossing paste. I have put down dabs of green and yellow inks. I'm starting out with the yellow, and then I'm going to mix the green one after wiping my knife off and smearing them randomly across that halftone stencil this time. So now that's how I've brought back in the circles that were at the bottom of the print we made. And then we went to scattered tiles, which are the squares, and then another scattered tiles, and now another circles, so that you can see it repeating through. I also wanted to put a frame around it, so I used the illuminated scenes, the embossing folder from it. I had die cut out just one of the light green cardstocks, ran it through. It was very strategically taped in there so that it would not shift as I was putting it through my die cut machine. And I'm giving it a wee bit of distressing around the outer corners of the frame with a little bit of green ink. And we are going to set this down while the pastes are not fully dry. So I've got the glue on the back. If you put it over while it's dry, you have to really glue the heck out of it, and usually put something like an ultra sticky tape on too. So this way, it's got enough of a ridge from the frame that I knew that when I put this acrylic block over top, that it would sit up on it and still not hit the embossing paste in the stenciled portions that were underneath. Inside of the card, this is one of my old close to my heart. This was to my bestie, so I grabbed out the birthday girl portion and I kept this in. Usually I would edit this all out, but watch how many times I'm flipping back and forth because I started out with the lighter colors. I kept layering them up. I was using yellows, I was using greens. I brought in a couple of hints of the light blues and stuff through spots. And I just wasn't kind of getting the tone I wanted. So I just kept going on it. Towards the end, I'm just using my blending brush. I'm dabbing it across the top of the ink and then, tapping it onto the sentiment. Here I'd switch to the beautiful inside for the sub-sentiment now that I've got birthday girl working the way I kind of want it to. And the same thing, I had used the blues to bring in the blue that was from the front, but I needed to ombre it just a little bit. And so that's where I was wiping off the top portion. And that I'm tapping on another slightly darker blue just on the bottom to give it a hint of a shadow. Okay, custom stamp is going down on the back. Always check that you got it on the right side. That's why I was looking at the inside. I was like, oh yeah, it goes on the back of this portion. And on the inside, there were a couple of flowers from that Close to My Heart set. I'm doing a first and second generation, and I'm just building it up all the way through the inside of that card. I did hold a napkin over the one side so that I wouldn't over carry it through to the side that was totally blank on the inside of the card. I'm gluing that panel down. We're going to give it some further squash time with the acrylic block. And I had the Alt New Vines and Bloom die set out. This one's really cute. I've been having fun with this one. So I used some light greens and some light yellows, a mid yellow, and then some of the textured cardstocks, ran it through to get the flowers and just one set of the leaves. I'm going to deepen them up with yellow and green inks, but only in certain spots. So I'm not doing like how a shadow would fully lie. I'm just blocking them in on one side or the other. We have some oxide inks out. I'm going to give the top one a spritz with one of the lighter blues. I think it was Speckled Egg. And on the flowers, I'm going to give it a spritz with the yellow, and then I'm bringing in some of the micas so that those flowers will stand out a little bit more and be the show that we need them to be. Also had die cut out some little nitty pieces of cardstock that had a little pattern over top of them. So that's my interest for the middle of the flowers, and that's what we were putting down there. I'm arranging them in a cascade just across the top of that frame on the left-hand side. Bigger ones clustered up near the top and then spread out as they're coming down along there. Had 3 left over. They're going to go on the inside of the card. It carries your theme over from front to the middle of the card. So we've got the green with a slight bit of blue tones in that one sentiment, and we've got the yellows in there as well. Now, I also needed a sub-sentiment from the front, so brought out one of my favorites, that solid sentiment strip in the press plate, inked up the bottom one. I started out with a yellow tone, didn't like it, wasn't quite dark enough, so I brought one of the greens in, ran it through again. If you've got your better press taped into spot, it usually will not shift. Like, you can run it through multiple times and you still get the definition. So you can see I'm just keep deepening it up until I'm going to get the green that I want. I also brought in the Altenew, the Enchanted Gold, the pigment ink, and I went over top of it so that it would have that shine, because that sentiment was, keep shining your light. That's it there. So we'll run that through again. I did die cut this out off of camera with one of my banner die cuts. So see, and now I'm finally happy because it's kind of matching better with the green that we've got in the background. Additioning the 2 of the glitter cardstocks that I've got with that Crafty Canucks Best Wishes. wanted the lighter one, but as you saw, it faded too much into the background. So we put that as a shadow layer behind, and then we put the darker green on top. We've got the banner in place, a little bit of shiny, shiny bling bling. That's the Simon Says Stamp Rainbow, and this calls for confetti, the prism, which you guys know is one of my favorites. Just arranging them around. They as well will help to repeat the dots of the halftone stencil. Excuse me. My throat's gone really dry because we have a lot of smoke in our area right now. All right, I'm back. Hopefully I can get through this without coughing. There's the finished card. Whole bunch of different levels of shiny bling bling and pastes and textures and stenciling and the 3 color tones that we're using. You all go be that change you want to see in the world. Thanks everybody for subbing and watching. We'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye everybody.